October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and just 3 years ago, Marion County reported nearly 11,000 victims of domestic violence. Dr. Danielle Henderson with IU Health is here to talk about some resources folks in Central Indiana can use. Thanks for coming in.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
We've got a lot of questions, of course, about domestic violence because we're still trying to understand how it happens. What would you say your definition of domestic violence is?
So for one thing, I'd like to tell people domestic violence can happen to anyone of any race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation. I think we all kind of have our own preconceived notions about who an abuser is or someone who is abused, but it can happen to anyone. Also, abuse can look in many different ways. We often think of physical abuse, someone being hit,
right.
Sexual violence, but it can also be in more subtle ways. For example, financial abuse. So if someone is not allowing you to work or go to school or is controlling the money or not allowing you to spend it, that's a form of abuse. Or just belittling you, putting you down, forcing you to do things that you don't want to do, whether that's intimacy, alcohol use, drug use, those can be more subtle forms of abuse as well.
You used the word control when you talked about controlling the finances. From what I understand, it's all about control.
It's about power and control. Yes, that's kind of the two big pieces for the abuser.
So those are some of the things you can identify with as well as you see that kind of a pattern in your life or in somebody else's life. What other warning signs then would you tell people to keep a lookout for other than seeing a spouse or a domestic partner exercising that kind of control?
Sure. Also warning signs to think about if your partner is not allowing you to be around other people, so isolation, or again, like on the friendship side, if your friend is not coming out as much or coming up with excuses as to why they can't come out, or maybe even saying, my partner said I'm not allowed to hang out with you guys anymore, that might be a sign that some abuse is going on.
So then what do you do at that point? Because from the friend point of view, you don't want to be like, honey, you need help. You know what I mean? You don't want to broach that topic in a way that could put them in maybe even more danger.
Right. So I always encourage people to, if you have concerns, you can express them. But then there are also a lot of resources out there online and here in the city that can help you navigate how to have those conversations and also help you navigate getting your friend linked to some of those resources. So I would encourage that as well as maybe doing some research on what's available nationally and locally and maybe sharing those types of things with your friends.
Is that just a Google search, or do you have some specifically here in Central Indiana that people could call or be a part of?
Sure. So one place that you can call, or one number you can call locally, is 211, the United Way number, and that you get a live person who can help you navigate resources in the city. So just because it can be overwhelming. Right. So 211 is a nice number to remember.
You just call 211 and say, I have some questions about domestic violence.
Yes, about resources in the city for domestic violence victims, and they can link you. Specific places would be like Coburn Place, Beacon of Hope, Julian Center, and then online, the National Domestic Violence Network has a lot of great resources. And one thing when I was preparing for this that I found is that a lot of those have quick exits that you can do. So if you're online, it'll have information as to just press, escape. So, and the window goes away and doesn't stay in your browser history. So I thought that was nice as well.
Well, there's a lot of effort going into, of course, keeping people safe and spreading awareness about domestic violence, especially in the month of October. So thank you for coming in. We're so glad to have you share that message, and we'll put this on wishtv.com.